Just because you thought you were gonna get away from.
That's like.
Check the camera.
Are we live? We're live. We're gone.
Hey, baby.
Hello.
Happy
Welcome.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. You'll be seeing this probably never, but most likely 4 to 5 days after Valentine's Day, so you won't give a shit anymore. But hello. Welcome to episode 32 of To Be Honest. I'm Addison.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Josh. Let's get it over with. Let's go.
In honor of Valentine's Day, we decided to watch a romantic comedy. Mm-hmm. We selected one, rather I selected one from 2001 called Kate and Leopold. Directed by James Mangold, written by James Mangold and Stephen Rogers, and starring Hugh Jackman, Meg Ryan, Breckin Meyer, Liev Schreiber, Kristen Schaal, Viola Davis, Natasha Lyonne.
Led by Viola Davis.
Viola?
Viola. What's her name?
Viola Davis.
Mandivold?
Viola, like the...
Star-studded.
Star-studded cast.
She tongue kisses Liam Neeson in this movie.
It was actually their first role together, their first lovemaking scene, and it was hot.
Are you going to remove that?
I beg your pardon.
Pick it up and put it in the trash.
I don't know what you guys thought of it, but...
Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent. Great.
So we're very excited to talk about this movie. I just wanted to get a couple things out of the way real quick. Okay. So do you guys know who James Mangold is, the director?
I don't.
Now I do.
So James Mangold has directed quite a few films in his career. This was not the first one, which that may come to a surprise, or come as a surprise to you when you find out what else he did. His first well-known film was called Copland. It's a movie with Sylvester Stallone where he plays this small-town cop who gets embroiled in this big murder mystery, and it's actually really good. It's considered to be like Stallone's best performance since Rocky, and probably period. I don't think he's topped it since.
I'm a cop.
And then he made he made this movie, Kate and Leopold.
Right after?
Yeah, I think Copland was 97. And so I think there may have been one in between. But then he did 3:10 to Yuma, starring...
I love 3:10 to Yuma.
Christian Bale and Russell Crowe. He did Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay.
The Johnny Cash movie. Mm-hmm. He did...
You're just saying crazy things right now.
Logan.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
The Wolverine film starring Hugh Jackman that came out a couple of years ago.
Repeat Hugh Jackman performance.
Yep. He also did the Wolverine as well, which was I think maybe the first standalone Wolverine film after X-Men.
Wolverine. Do you remember
It was
that
called
one?
The Wolverine. I didn't see it.
Wolverine has these huge claws that come out of his hands.
Oh,
is
he's from the 1800s?
Crazy mutton chops, yeah.
Actually, I think he kind of is.
He kind of is. Actually, he absolutely is. He's kind of cranky.
Is he a charmer? Like Leopold?
I was like, what is a chama?
A charmer.
Is that some kind of lingo I'm not hip to?
We're just gonna dance around talking about this movie
Black
all night.
Black English.
So, anyways, and then you have, again, Hugh Jackman, who's now like a pretty huge movie star. This movie had some pedigree behind it, is my point in talking about all of this. These weren't hacks at the helm of this movie.
They were not considered hacks.
No.
Not until 2019 when three boys go down to a basement and watch it for the first time and realize they're canceled.
So Jackson asked me a very interesting question while we were watching this movie. He was in some pain, and he said, "Why did you choose this movie?" And let me tell you,
This is 2 hours deep.
because I haven't seen this movie before, but it has always been in my memory because X-Men was released in 2000.
Okay.
And that had Hugh Jackman, obviously, as Wolverine. And that was like the first superhero adaptation to get it right. I mean, and even the least bit. Now, it's problematic because it was directed by a pedophile.
Okay.
Bryan Singer directed X-Men.
Right.
But it was good, like, by all considerations, as far as superhero movies that had come before it. And Hugh Jackman, of course, was singled out as well for his portrayal of Wolverine. Like, everyone was like, he fucking killed it. I can't think of a better Wolverine.
He's the only, like, good thing about that movie.
Patrick Stewart, bud.
Okay. Fine.
But
Where's
anyways,
his standalone?
so he has this fucking momentum. He had this breakthrough with X-Men, and his next movie that comes out is fucking Kate and Leopold. What is this stupid bullshit? Who would ever greenlight this, think this is a good idea, that some guy from 1876 comes to current day New York and romances Meg Ryan, who, as we all know, is a shrewd, horrible actress.
Wait, that's the plot of this movie?
That's the plot of this movie.
Oh.
Comes back from 1876 because Liev Schreiber, who is Meg Ryan's ex-boyfriend, wants to go back in time for a reason that's not really that clear. And he brings Leopold back with him, and then Leopold has acclimates to New York and falls in love with Meg Ryan,
Wait.
who's a marketing...
You're missing... So, Liev Schreiber's character, whose name is Stewart, wants to get in the cracks of time. So he's really interested about how time is like a pretzel.
All this time, I thought that I had pretzel fate and that it had to be untwisted. But what I never considered is that the whole thing is a pretzel. A beautiful 4D pretzel of cosmetic inevitability.
Is that how you describe Meg Ryan's acting?
No, I just grab it.
That was a quote from the movie, I thought.
It seems like her only form of acting is seeming surprised in the most unconvincing way. She's like,
And manic.
what?
Yeah.
I can't deal with this right now. I'm an executive.
But hang on, I wasn't finished.
Okay.
So Leopold comes to New York, and he has to figure out how things in New York work, like picking up dog shit and fire engines. And he falls in love with Kate, who's a marketing something, and she casts him in a butter commercial because he's British, and then they dance on a rooftop, and then her brother likes Leopold because she apparently lives with her brother. And then
They aren't having sex.
And then Leopold actually tastes the butter, and he gets really mad at Meg Ryan because it's not real butter. And then Liev Schreiber escapes a mental hospital, and he convinces Leopold that he has to go back to 1876 because otherwise elevators won't be invented. And then Meg Ryan gets promoted in her job because she cast Hugh Jackman in the butter commercial. And then in the middle of her acceptance speech for her new job, she remembers that she loves Leopold because Liev Schreiber went back in time and took pictures of Leopold, and she realizes that he's actually for real and not mentally ill. And then hard cut, she's on the bridge, and then a cop comes and she jumps off the bridge, and then
That's the best part.
Leopold is announcing his marriage to Kristen Schaal because she's ugly and no one likes her, but she's wealthy. And then he sees Kate, and he's like, "I'd like to announce that my new wife is Kate and of New York and Sin." And they kiss and dance, and that's the movie.
All right, I guess podcast over.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Like and subscribe.
Smash that like button.
Get on our emails and email us at wehatemovies@gmail.com.
I want you guys to Netflix and chill that like button. Right?
Yeah.
People say that.
Nice one, man.
Thank you.
As the pyramids testify to the Egyptians, so my glorious erection shall represent our culture in perpetuity.
So was
So-
the director the reason why you wanted to watch this?
Well, the reason that I wanted to watch it is because, again, like, it had always been an object of curiosity to me because I was like, why would you do this to yourself, Hugh Jackman? Why would you star in this movie?
Well, I'm sure it was a huge payout at that point.
Well, I'm sure it was. I'm sure he got a nice check for this movie. That's what you mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I thought about it again recently when we did the Halloween episode, and I had referenced it because we're talking about David Gordon Green, who did a bunch of like dumb historical shit, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if he directed that. Leopold, you know what? We're gonna listen to it. Have you heard it's Saint Swithin's Day today?
His career started in like the 90s when like your Prince Charming like rom-coms were really popular.
like the time travel ones where like the guy from
He doth kisseth you, but he does not marry you. No.
What the fuck are you talking about? This is fucking New York.
I'll fucking pop you in the jaw.
He planted that fucking kiss on me, Leopold. What am I supposed to do about that?
What's this movie?
Yeah, what? I didn't get any of that.
And so then after we talked about that, it was in my mind. And then when you suggested watching a romantic comedy, it was the first thing I thought of. And I looked it up and I saw that it was directed by James Mangold. And I was like, no fucking shit. Like, I couldn't believe it. All right, we've got to watch this movie. So,
Are you happy with your decision?
3:10 to Yuma, Kate and Leopold, which is better? Go.
Kate and Leopold, hands down, more of a accurate historical portrayal.
I agree.
Of 2000s New York.
Pre 9/11.
Pre
New York.
9/11.
I
Yeah.
mean, literally just before 9/11.
Wah, wah.
This movie was actually released on Christmas Day 2011. I'm pretty sure no one was in the mood.
2011. Oh my
2001.
gosh.
Sorry, 2001.
A Space Odyssey.
And I'm pretty
Time
sure
is
no
a
one was in the
pencil.
mood. Time is a pretzel.
Time is a
It
pencil.
folds on itself, and it's delicious.
So really, this is the story of how Meg Ryan escaped post 9/11 America.
Kind of. So Meg Ryan actually, this was like the hottest her career was when this movie was out.
Oh, she peaked.
Oh, she peaked. Yeah, like around this time. She peaked around this time.
Good for
she
her.
was in Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally, and then the internet came out, and there was like, You've Got Mail with her and Tom Hanks like reuniting them from Sleepless in Seattle. She was in a string of shitty romantic comedies, and she was literally always the same character, basically like high-powered woman with an executive level job who's too busy to have any kind of romance. Uh-oh, here comes Prince Charming.
But she's down to earth.
But she's, well,
She's down to earth because she keeps falling all the time.
And she climbs
very
around
klutzy.
on fire escapes.
yes, yep.
Yeah, everyone hangs out on fire escapes and only enters that way through the window. It's very New York.
No, but there was a golden age, I would say, around 1999 when The Matrix came out. When I was in middle
Of
school.
fire escape scenes.
No, of these like kind of like romantic comedies that were just so fucking stupid, but people ate them up.
I can see why people ate this one up.
So we have actually a big fan of the movie here.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, you drink. Get ready for this one. No, okay. I don't understand why it works, but I can see the appeal because this did well. I'm imagining in 2001, right? Maybe not right after 9/11.
It did pretty well.
I think
it
people needed
doubled
to
its
heal.
budget.
Yeah.
So
It was the only romantic comedy released over Christmas. So, and that's usually like you're gonna make some money if you release a schmaltzy
people will
movie over
accidentally
Christmas.
go see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fall into it.
like Bird Box.
Yeah. Will they blindfold themselves
Bird
and
Box
walk
in
into
this
the
movie.
theater? Who's that shrill voice I hear on the screen?
Is that Meg Ryan or Sandra Bullock?
Hey, so kind of the reasons why what you're describing, like this very basic rom-com woman, and then we have a very pretty basic male character. Was pretty flat, he's charming, but he's distant, or it doesn't quite make sense for her to like be immediately attracted to him, but if she were paying attention, she would have been attracted to him this whole time. Like that basicness of a plot is so simple enough that you don't have to think about it. And if you're thinking about like people like flying planes into your buildings, which is about hilarious to you guys, but if you think about that,
This movie in the context of 9/11 is hilarious.
it is.
it's incredibly unique. But I think like they're not problematic enough that you like say like, oh, this is a gross relationship. They don't make sense, and it's just like it just gets by. And it doesn't make you think too much, and it's not offensive, and sort of, except for the black people that
Oh god,
make cameos in the beginning. When
he literally just runs into them and then
Confused look on his face.
yeah, because we'll cut to Addison talking about shackles on these black people.
My dear boy.
Hello! Blast!
Hello.
Hello?
My dear boy, get back in your shackles. You tiny ones, I was getting loose.
Where's your nurse, mother?
Well, your shackles loose. Come here, we'll tighten them.
Slavery.
Well, because he like walks out of, he gets rushed out of the apartment, and this is his first time seeing New York City in 2000, and he's like seeing all these different things. He's seeing cars, he's seeing these huge ads and stuff on buildings, and then there's a hard cut to like these three black people just standing on the sidewalk, and then it cuts back to his face, and he's just all bewildered. He's like, "Whoa!"
And then the black kid.
Oh yeah, then there's
the random black kid,
and then they write him out like right away. I wonder if they wrote that in to like.
They're like,
people are
wait a
like,
second.
You have no black people in your movie, and they're like,
I don't
oh.
think anyone gave a shit about that in 2000.
No, in
but
2001 people didn't give a shit about inclusiveness.
So it's true. So they're kind of at a charming moment when he's with that black child who just wanders into their apartment. I don't remember why. How does that happen?
He's doing like some like swashbuckling.
Well, yeah, that part is like kind of cute.
It's never explained why the kid is all of a sudden in Liev Schreiber's apartment, unless he's like a sexual predator or something.
I think
count on
just,
that.
Like this apartment complex has no boundaries. Like,
No, it clearly does not.
Yeah, it's the projects. Like everyone just kind of.
I wish that was a project for real. It's a nice apartment. But it's a kind of like charming moment where he's he's telling a play or he's reenacting a play or whatever, and then he's playing on the piano and they're having a good time. But then also, I don't think Meg Ryan's character even sees that, or she does at the very end, and it's just not capitalized. And it's like, what are we watching right now? We're just watching moments that don't have any like purpose at all.
This movie is just a bunch of ideas on how this guy from the 1800s would interact with people and things from modern day.
Well, I thought that would be more heavily like, because it's a bad movie. I thought that would be more of the movie. Is like, I don't know how to fit into this society.
Let me borrow your horse so I can stop that pickpocket.
They do that. That's like definitely an idea. That's like, what if someone tries to steal Meg Ryan's purse? He gets on a horse and chases after him, just like in 1884.
Yeah.
But then he just accepts it. He's like, okay, I'm in 2000. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna go charm some other bitches.
Yes. So at first I was concerned that there was going to be an over-reliance on fish out of water humor with this movie. That it was going to be so many... like, they have a little bit of like, the toaster. Why doesn't... that is not toast, it's merely warm bread.
Bart, shut up!
That thing is a damned hazard.
It's just a toaster!
Well, insertion of bread into that so-called toaster produces no toast at all, merely warm bread. Inserting the bread twice produces charcoal. So, clearly, to make proper toast, it requires 1.5 insertions, which is something for which the apparatus doesn't begin to allow.
Yeah. Which you laughed at.
I did, because it was a great joke.
You're like, I have to push the toast down twice, too.
But I got a toaster oven. I don't fuck with that. But literally, it's like after that first scene where he gets a ticket for not cleaning up the dog shit, he pretty much accepts everything about the modern world. I found myself wishing for some fish out of water.
Yeah, you're begging for it.
Once I was like, please, just
Yeah, I
you
think-
can't already accept it. It doesn't make sense.
He
And
does
for, like-
accept it way too fast.
Yeah, and for a movie that's 2 hours long.
2 hours long. And by the way, I just wanted to say real quick, this is the theatrical cut of this movie. So here's what happened. This movie was released to critics, or rather, they had a screening for critics, and it got kind of like a lukewarm, middling reception. And so Miramax, which fuck you, Harvey Weinstein, you rapist scumbag prick. Miramax decided to cut like I think 10 minutes out of the movie before it was released. Literally like a week before it was released.
Throw up.
And one of the scenes that they cut reveals essentially that the Liev Schreiber character is actually the descendant of Leopold and Kate, thereby implying like a incest
Yeah.
between a mother and a son, like an Oedipal thing.
Well, it'd be like great grandmother, right? Great
Grandmother, I believe.
at least.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That
they
would add like a whole nother layer to this movie.
why'd they cut that out when they were for the entire movie
Because
implying
critics did not respond well to the the incest
But
tag at the end.
her and her brother were fucking the whole time, and they're not implying that shit, or they're not cutting that out. He's just like in her apartment, and there's like, I thought they were dating at first, and then when he said like my sister, and I was like, what? Whose sister? Not the girl he's putting his thing in the thing.
You know what? I'll ask you to please not talk about white culture anymore.
White
because
culture
it's not
is
your place.
incest. It's true. Look it up.
No, it really is. Black people don't do incest.
You can't tell people what black people do and don't do.
I know several black people, and none of them do incest.
That you know of.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
let's
they
move
always
on.
call me their brother, but they never fuck me. You know what I'm saying?
Let's move on.
Where's that time machine at?
So-
Pick it up and put it in the trash.
Yeah, let's jump off this fucking Brooklyn Bridge and get out of this podcast. So the movie's really long. It's 2 hours long, and we don't have enough fish out of water. And which we should be. We should be like the first 45 minutes, but then we don't have any of the stuff that the movie promises until the last act, basically, where Meg Ryan eventually finds that she is attracted to this guy, or she like, oh, this guy's totally 200 years old, and then she fucks him. But then there's only like 45 minutes left. And it's like, what have we been doing for an hour? Like, why does anything matter? And then you start questioning existence and like, why am I here? Why am I in a basement? Who are these two men around me?
They never explicitly say that they had sex.
What? Yeah, they do.
True, but you do see Meg Ryan waking up, like, obviously topless with the covers just above her
Yeah.
nipples.
He's making her breakfast.
Yeah, and he's making her breakfast.
And then
like,
Charlie-
high-fiving her brother.
Yeah.
Her brother's like, dude, you fucked my sister. Awesome.
Yeah, me too, man. Haha. I did it last
Dude, I
week.
couldn't sleep all night because I had to listen to you guys.
It was great. He's teaching her how to, or not teaching her, teaching Hugh Jackman how to,
Leopold.
teaching Leopold that you gotta press the dishwasher right as she wakes up so she sees you, man. That's how I get her turned on in the morning. And it's like these stupid little things. Sorry.
Oh no.
Well, they had sex.
I'm huffing at this movie. It's so bad.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. We made it way more fun than it should have been.
Yes.
This movie is not fun.
It was fun.
I had fun watching it because we made a joke out of it.
Made a big joke out of it. This movie is just like a tangled web of scenes in my head. Like, I couldn't even put them together like a jigsaw puzzle as far as which went where, and it's
because nothing takes.
no
in this
nothing.
Movie.
There's like no plot to
They
this
really
movie.
like messed up the beginning, and so the rest of it is just like trying to pick up pieces as it runs along, trying
Yes.
to tell the story. Because they don't establish his character that well before they like hurl him into this world where you're supposed to be like, oh, he has no idea what's going on. It's just like
he's an inventor.
He's an inventor. He has problems with his uncle, and then all of a sudden, Liev Schreiber shows up.
Yes, taking pictures,
and he's just like, "What's he doing?"
So he's an inventor, right? And then also, he's supposed to be a charmer,
Tis but dreams.
You'll find nothing but dreams in that book.
Many dreams, all useless.
He like rushed that line too. So he like says it really fast.
He was trying to fucking get off set and be done.
Like
with
the
this
way he
movie.
looks in the door frame, he's just like, there's nothing but dreams. We're ready? We're done? Okay.
I bet they filmed the beginning last. I got that vibe.
Because everyone just seemed tired and beat down.
Meg Ryan left. She's busy having sex with James Mangold or whatever because that's what they promised her.
Oh,
or him.
God. I just remembered another terrible Meg Ryan romantic comedy from the late 90s, City of Angels, with Nick Cage, where Nick Cage is a fallen angel that she falls in love with.
Damn.
And he just talks about, like, Ernest Hemingway and shit. And
She loves to explore the surreal.
She's an artist of the surreal. Meg Ryan, indeed.
Just trying to capture the abstract.
Well put. Oh, God.
That's nice. What were we talking? Okay, so
Let's further
Well, it's interesting-
pick apart this masterpiece.
I really want to break down scene for scene this movie. Well, like, you don't establish his character well enough. Like, he's supposed to be an inventor.
This movie broke me.
So scene, no, not scene for scene. He's an inventor. He's supposed to be a charmer. We don't get that until after he comes to the present. He's so like it's I don't know. It's like we're supposed to see these things turn on its head and then they don't. I don't know. I don't know if I should put that much intellectual thought into this movie. Like I'm asking for these characters to be stronger in the beginning so that they have a better payoff.
I just like saw this movie through just like a raw lens of just like something just has to grab my attention.
Yeah.
And pretty much nothing did at all.
The last like 20 or last when the real plot kicks in, it's not good or anything, but I am more interested in it.
Well, when they show Liev Schreiber's developed photos from when he went back in time and clicked, you see Kate in the background of one, and Josh gasped. He was like,
I thought it was interesting. I was like, hey, there's something. That's unique.
There's something.
That was probably the best idea of this movie.
Yeah, so our customers will be able to get exactly
Please. She interested.
Too much sub.
Oh shit, she's in the picture. I didn't notice that earlier. That's interesting.
Oh.
That's the only interesting thing that's happened in this movie.
It's a pencil.
But yeah, and they must have thought of it like 99% of the way through the movie because, like, writing the movie at least, like, because that should be like in the very beginning. Like, we should see him get the photos developed. He's like, you gotta go to the Walgreens and pick up my photos that I had developed, and you'll see it's for real. He's
And
from
then he
the
falls down
past.
an elevator
and he
shaft.
falls down an elevator, can't get him. He falls down an elevator shaft.
and survives
With
like a sprained wrist.
Yeah, a lot of body comedy.
Should they have killed off his
physical
character?
comedy? Should they have killed off his character?
Sure. I don't know what difference it would
Like
make.
his body's just like on top of the elevator the whole movie.
Just going up and oh no, yeah, because elevators don't work in this future where Leopold doesn't exist in the past.
Yeah, that was a weird like plot note that they don't really explore, but they just kind of throw it in there. It's like, oh, elevators don't work anymore.
There's parts of this movie that display kind of like a slightly, no pun intended, elevated thinking.
Erected thinking?
Erected thinking.
My glorious erection?
Where they were like starting to uncover some interesting ideas about like, oh, if he invented the elevator and then all of a sudden elevators don't work. Like, that's a somewhat interesting conceit, right? But just the way that it worked in this movie, they like Meg Ryan is in an elevator, it stops, she acts like nothing is wrong, steps out, and that's pretty much all that the movie talks about.
Well, yeah, then Liev Schreiber opens the elevator door, falls in. That's it. Yeah, and then he's like,
oh, yeah.
elevators don't work anymore. We gotta bring them back. And I don't know, like, is that a plot convenient, or is that like the reason why he needs to go back? That doesn't make any sense. Like, fucking elevators have existed for hundreds of years now, and people can fix them. If they just all stop working, people will just fix them again.
Not hundreds, but
200. That's hundreds.
It was like late 1800s.
It was
right,
late
that he's from.
1800s, yeah.
He's 200 years old, I thought. Whatever, man. Fuck you. The elevators can be fixed.
This movie doesn't have that many layers to it.
No one forgot how the elevators worked
If we had
because they stopped
like,
working.
some basis of knowledge of engineering and machinery, like even if elevators stopped working for some reason, people are like, oh no, I understand. This is like a system of pulleys. Like I get it. It's easy.
And I think they realized that, so they stopped bringing attention to it.
Yeah.
They're like, okay.
Do you think they had like stacks and stacks of script trying to explain the disappearance of elevators? And they're like, buildings would collapse. Like,
It was actually the movie's original title. It was just called Elevator. In the movie.
Elevator.
It's a quiet drama. It's a quiet drama of how people's livelihoods are affected by it. It's like a pro-able movie.
Yeah, well, it's more so about like the rise and fall of the working class.
I'll dab you up for that. That's good.
So we have this weird like go nowhere plot. We have pretty bad acting from Meg Ryan, who's just fucking obnoxious. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who like her, but I find her to be very obnoxious.
I don't find her attractive, and I don't find her funny.
No. And if
her value is in her attraction.
I don't find her anything. Would you guys agree though that like Hugh Jackman does the best with what he's got here? Sorry, I keep touching your weenus.
You're in the middle now, baby.
You guys use this podcast as an excuse to touch my weenus.
It's true. It's true. But he does do the best with what he's got, right?
He's a good actor. Like, even though the lines were shit, like, he delivers them, convincingly. And it's, like, there's so many lines in this movie that are cringeworthy, but I don't feel like any of them were his.
As I see it, Patrice has not an inkling of your affections, and it's no wonder. You, Charles, are a Merry Andrew.
What?
Everything plays a farce to you. Women respond to sincerity. This requires pulling one's tongue from one's cheek.
No one wants to be romanced by a buffoon.
I think his accent's kind of weird at certain points, but yeah, for the most part, it's like, oh, I can believe that he's from 1876 or whatever. I don't know, man. What's the point?
I don't know
anymore.
I wish that in the scene where she's on the bridge and they're looking at her, and then they look back at the cop, and then look back over, and then she's gone. It cuts to the morning, and her body's just floating in the Brooklyn River, and they're fishing her out. And then it cuts to Hugh Jackman in like a restaurant with like an Italian accent. And he's just like a mentally ill guy who convinced her he's from.
Oh no!
I watched that movie.
Oh no!
Mamma mia!
Mamma mia, give me the pizza pie.
Me to go kill herself.
And then he convinces another woman to fall in love with his Italian character. And then jump off a bridge.
And then he has an Asian character named Ping. He's Michael Scott, basically.
Yeah, you gotta reference that.
What was his Greek character?
Mykolos. Can I sit on your lap? That's like, if that movie took off at all, if it did well and like reviews and stuff, they'd make a second one, and he'd be Greek. Hugh Jackman would be, and it would be 1923. Because you don't want to go too far in the future again. It's the same movie, but 1923 is different because cars are just now getting going. And
well, so did you guys ever see that movie of the guy who gets locked in his family's bomb shelter? And it's almost the same exact plot, except there's no time machine. He just comes out of the bomb shelter, but he's from a different era where you respect women. And
are you talking about that movie with Brendan Fraser?
Yes, I am.
I think you're talking about Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
No, it's kind of the same idea.
I can't remember what that movie's called. Yeah. But yeah, Brendan Fraser has been locked in a bunker since like the 50s, and then he gets out.
He's raised by his old-timey parents.
Yes.
And he basically acts like a kid because he never matured in the bunker.
And he has this like 50s
Blast from
concept.
the past.
Blast from the past. He has this 50s concept of America still, much like Leopold has
Pick it up and put it in the trash.
Is a damned hassle.
My glorious erection.
So we were talking about this while we were watching the movie. We were talking about if this movie is a crystallization of like pre 9/11 American arrogance,
innocence,
and maybe innocence,
naivety,
and naivete, and all of this shit. Because the world changed a lot after.
Why?
Sorry, I just had to get that one out. I apologize.
Bad timing.
Yeah.
You really blew that one up.
Why what?
I was joking. I was like, what are you talking about? What are you implying?
Oh, I really don't have anything to add to that, other than that it does seem like movies changed after 9/11 or the world changed or something, and this was weird to observe.
Sure. I mean, it's New York City, so it's weird that there aren't I don't think there are any 9/11, or I guess there wouldn't be any not 9/11 shots, but Twin Towers.
The steel bird is flying into this giant man.
I'm from the 1800s. I don't even think that's right.
I think someone should do something about those things in the sky.
Is that a man in a suit flying winged
what?
steel?
Oh, because it's like astronauts?
I don't know.
I don't know what's gonna. What were we
This
doing?
movie's so bad, it's hard to talk about.
This movie's really bad. I mean,
What, is there anything that we liked? Is there anything that we liked? Can we get that out of the way?
I can't think of a single thing I liked about this movie.
There's a couple cheap laughs here and there, but no.
I like the erection stuff.
That's true. You did giggle.
You could have
at that.
stopped watching this movie 10 minutes.
I would have been so much happier, I think, as a person.
The movie really blew its wad with all of the erection jokes at the beginning.
Throw in a splat.
So, sequel?
Yeah, and there's a sequel. That's why we were talking about this movie, actually, is James Mangold is developing a sequel for this, Kate and Leopold, where they both travel to the distant future and try to stop September 11th, 2101 from happening.
Whoa.
Well, it's also Charlie has taken over the world. So he's like he had like a bunch of children and they've gotten older.
Who's Charlie?
Charlie's Mary, what's her name? Meg Ryan,
Meg.
brother. And he's had children and they've grown up.
Breckenmeyer.
And kind of like the Lord of the Fray in Game of Thrones, he's now sleeping with his daughters because he is a man of incest and he can't stop himself. And so Hugh Jackman and Meg Ryan go to the future to stop him, but Meg Ryan just ends up fucking him and leaving Hugh Jackman. And Hugh Jackman has to go back to 2000, and that's about as far as we've gotten so far. We're writing this movie.
So, Josh, would you recommend Kate and Leopold?
Yeah. I actually would, so fuck you.
Now, I think you
Why?
have to provide some context.
I don't have to do shit. No, okay, I think you need to watch it with somebody who generally hates movies like you do, and it's a good movie to make fun of. It's kind of boring, but it doesn't really like want me to like. It doesn't make me want to like jump off the Brooklyn Bridge as much as Meg Ryan did, but it is fun to make fun of. And if you're into doing that, and it's a rom-com, you like to get the cheesy romance shit, whatever.
I don't even feel like this movie did that right, though.
It didn't, but
I didn't.
there's some parts of it.
I didn't.
Would you wait for your fucking turn?
I was trying to
Wait your
start
turn,
dialogue.
boy.
Jackson, would you recommend this movie?
No, but the point I was making is that I never like saw them as a couple, really. Like they had no chemistry whatsoever.
No,
Yeah.
like zero chemistry.
I agree. Yeah.
Because she is a shrill, Botox lipped fucking
What's
bitch.
up? What's up with her? Hey,
Sorry, actually, I don't know why I said that.
it just came out with pure
It
hatred.
did, and I don't say that word. I'm
It's okay.
sorry.
It's okay. I said it earlier, so we're both good.
Leopold's so
sorry.
charming. He doesn't deserve that shrill.
That wench.
Flinch. There we go. That's the word I was looking for.
It's much more appropriate.
No, it's true. Hugh Jackman was, first of all, acting circles around Meg Ryan, and he's way out of her league in a normal sense. But if he's like,
Like
this
real life.
dignified dude from 1876 who believes in chivalry and all that, then no.
So is Meg Ryan supposed to just play like the everyday girl, where she's like, I'm trying my best out here, and then he's just like Mr. Charming?
Whatever.
Is that what they're going for?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
But like, she doesn't even notice it for
Well, no,
an hour and a half.
Here's what it is so she is, like I said, she's this career-driven woman. She has no time for men because they all disappoint her, like Liev Schreiber's character.
Men are
etc.
trash.
And then all of a sudden, this man from the past who has all of these values that men used to have comes and seduces her, sweeps her off of her feet because men are trash.
Addison,
I wish that Leopold was just like a poor peasant that had like just like a piece of cloth as a hat,
Like with those little danglies down by his face.
I wench, would you like to go out with me?
What this big building here with these steel birds?
I met me on the roof tonight. I can get a little like wet cock.
Jackson starring in Kate and Leopold 2, Return to New York. Addison, would you recommend this movie? You better say yes.
I would recommend this movie if you are me and you get to watch it with you too.
Oh, sweet.
No
It's
laundry.
Valentine's Day. Love you guys. No, I would.
Don't do laundry.
I
You'll get lost in the
I wouldn't have
sauce.
lasted 30 seconds in this movie if I was watching it by myself. I would have been mad about it. Because we got to watch it together, at no point did it actively piss me off. Well, there was a couple points where it actively pissed me off, but generally speaking, it was fun to see what kind of bullshit was coming next so that we could make fun of it. Also, I had a Firehouse sub, and that distracted me for a solid probably 20, 25 minutes from the movie, so recommend that, absolutely.
Eat.
But no, this is a really bad movie. It doesn't hold up. There's no redeeming value. As a movie, as a work, I'm absolutely astounded that James Mangold... Oh, and also I forgot this too. Stephen Rogers, the co-writer of this movie, his most recent film that he wrote and directed, I, Tonya.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You said the screenwriter?
Screenwriter. Well, he wrote it with James Mangold. He wrote Kate and Leopold with James Mangold. And then he wrote and directed I, Tonya.
Did you see I, Tanya?
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Didn't love it, but it was definitely a pretty good movie. I mean, Margot Robbie definitely makes that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Meg Ryan.
That's right.
What if they had Meg Ryan play that role? Wow, I hate it.
She's gonna make a comeback like Matthew McConaughey.
She's still around, isn't she?
The last movie I can remember her being in was some movie where, and this might be Jodie Foster, but some movie where she was like raped by a guy and then like buys a gun and learns self-defense and takes revenge.
It's about Halloween.
That was Kate and Leopold too.
That's Caitlin. Her brother comes back in time.
Traveled from the past to right here.
Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Oh my god.
Actually, you know what? We've got like a couple minutes to spare.
Oh no.
Can we talk about some things that we like? Because this movie's so bad. I just have a couple things. Jessica Pratt, super cool fucking record.
Yeah.
It's like this kind of quiet, folksy thing. She has a really interesting voice and really lovely melodies, and it just kind of like puts me at peace, and I really like it. Wargroove on Nintendo Switch. It's a tactical, again, RPG game, kind of like Advance Wars from the Game Boy Advance.
Anything to not play with me.
Hang on, I'm getting there. And then also another game, Tangle Deep, roguelike RPG, really fucking cool. The Resident Evil 2 remake, look for a podcast with me and a special guest, hopefully, very soon. It's fucking tits, though. And then a game that I haven't played yet, but I'm very much looking forward to playing with my boy, Apex Legends.
Yeah, the cultural phenomenon.
Yes, that has officially surpassed Fortnite for Twitch viewers.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
that happened really fast.
Yeah.
that
that
was
mean?
like the next day
But it's like the first game to do that in
in a long
a
time.
long time.
But I think it also set a record where it had over 600,000 viewers at one time, and the streamer Shroud
600,000, right?
600,000.
Yeah.
What did I say?
6,000.
Oh yeah, 600,000. And then the streamer Shroud had 200,000 at one time, which people were posting about that on Twitch. I wonder, or not Twitch, but Twitter. I wonder if he set some sort of a record. But it seems like it is like It's amazing that they top Fortnite. I thought Fortnite was like the end all be all of battle royale.
Fortnite's
games,
just for
but
babies because it has the
I
Minecraft
would
building
agree.
element.
I never got into that.
Never got into it. I tried actually because they released it on Switch last March and or thereabouts anyway. And I downloaded it again. I was like, I'm going to give this game another try. I'm going to try. And I played it for literally 10 minutes and I was like, this is fucking stupid. And I turned it off. But no, but so Apex Legends is making a big splash and you really dig it.
Yeah, it's really fun. I've been a fan of Respawn Studios.
You have been
since the first Titanfall game.
Yeah.
And I really like Titanfall 2, and I was looking forward to Titanfall 3, which I don't know the exact story, but I guess this started off as Titanfall 3, and they were just like, nope, got to make a battle royale game. So they, as far as I know, they scratched Titanfall 3, and then
seems that way.
This is probably what they'll be working on for the foreseeable future.
And honestly, if the momentum keeps up, this thing will be a cash cow. Which you will say about Titanfall and Titanfall 2 is neither of them were commercial successes. Both of them got trumped by the Call of Duty series, which is ironic because Vince Zampinella, who is the head of Respawn Studios, is actually, he was the, I think, director or creative lead of Modern Warfare 1.
That's right. Well, he started the studio that him and the same guy he started Respawn Studios with. They started the studio that did Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2.
Yes.
And then they both left to start Respawn Studios.
Yes.
And so it's kind of a cool history of like them creating basically the modern shooter and then getting to this the point where they're making the basically the watermark for battle royale games now.
Well, from my perspective, I'm glad to see them succeed.
Me too.
Because I haven't loved the Titanfall series as much as you have, but I have definitely liked them and enjoyed them, and it's like more people should be playing these games. These are just well-crafted games. Like, the people who make these are obviously passionate and know what the fuck they're doing, and so to see them have this big success kind of warmed my heart a little bit. But just for those not in the know, whoever you might be, Apex Legends is kind of like a mix between PUBG and Overwatch in that it's a battle royale, but then it has kind of like themed characters, so to speak, that each have their own unique abilities, and yeah.
Well, what the battle royale type of shooter was missing was basically somebody who just took like the Call of Duty type shooter and turned it into a successful battle royale, which there has recently been a Call of Duty game with the battle royale mode in it
that was pretty well received.
It was well received, but it never like took off, I feel like, and I never played it, so I can't really speak too much about it. But this game took that idea and like immediately hit the ground running with it. Like, it was a surprise release.
Yes.
And
free.
And free, yeah. And I think eventually I probably will put money into it, just to like
support it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so check that out. Check all that shit out. Joshua, watching, playing, listening, what you got?
Oh,
Keaton Leopold forever.
Keaton Leopold.
Keaton Leopold.
Keaton Leopold. We go to Ireland or Scotland.
It's my culture.
My culture. I have incest.
Were you one of those black bastards in Ireland that Liam Neeson was looking for?
He went to Ireland to get me.
That's the great to say. No context.
Those black bastards. I watched Russian Doll this week.
Yeah, it sounded like you really liked it.
It's one of it's surprisingly good. I was ready to hate it, and I did not hate it.
Okay.
Let's fuck this party in the mouth.
Sweet birthday, baby!
Life's short, carpe diem, etc., right?
What I do in my time is my business, my choice, baby!
For the record, we were going to do Happy Death Day to You and Russian Doll as a combined episode this week. Jackson dropped the ball.
I wanted to watch Keaton Leopold.
He stomped his foot down. He crossed his arms.
Keaton Leopold, no! Want my movie.
Sorry, Russian Doll.
Yeah, Russian Doll. Natasha Lyonne's great in it. It's weird and funny. I think Amy Poehler wrote a couple episodes, and it's just across the board surprisingly good. And I was really excited that I watched it, even if we don't get to talk about it.
I'll watch it. We'll talk about it.
I recommend anyone watch it.
I would too.
Not as much as Keaton Leopold, but I recommend you see it.
If I were to describe Russian Doll with a metaphor, I would say that it's like prime rib, smoked cheddar, pickled onions, surrounded by two piles of shit. The pilot and the final episode are garbage. Like
debatable, but okay.
Maybe not garbage. That might be a little bit strong.
The first episode does not leave you wanting.
No. You have to make the decision after you watch the pilot. Okay, I'm gonna keep going with this. And then the last episode, I felt like resolved things pretty unsatisfyingly.
Well, there's gonna be a season 2.
Well, that's and I have my own ideas. I don't want to spoil it for Jackie Boy, but I have my own ideas of how they could entertainingly pull off a kind of retcon, because they almost put a bow on it with that last episode.
Almost, yeah, they could have.
So that would be my only thing: is stick with it through the pilot. It does get better. There's some good performances. There's some really dark humor.
Yeah.
There's some interesting, like metaphysical, philosophical ideas in it, which are kind of inherent to the formula of like repeating a day, Groundhog Day, Russian Doll, Happy Death Day to You. It's obviously a premise that fascinates us as humans.
Or we're just bored and we don't know how to make other things.
Well, that too. Anything else?
I'm reading a fantasy book called...
No, sorry, I'm going to have to go.
Man.
I like
you guys get to
fantasy
talk
books.
about fucking video games. Fuck you, man.
I like fantasy
all right,
books.
talk about your fantasy book.
It's called
Game of Thrones.
Fuck, it's called like the 5th season or something.
Oh,
I don't know. It's about this. I'm only about 300 pages in of like a 600-page book, and it's a trilogy. But it's written by N.K. Jemisin, I think. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but it's this fantasy series based on this continent where there's all these earthquakes. They call them shakes, and there's these certain groups of people who can manipulate the earth and
Avatar.
No, they can quell shakes essentially. So they have like some sort of influence on the way like plates interact with each other, and they're essentially like black people, and they're outcasts of society, and they're marginalized and all that
Do they
stuff.
like actually have like the race of black people?
They are black. I think everyone in this series is black. It's written by a black woman. N.K. Jemisin is black. Everyone's like a different shade of black or dark, or there's
so
white people
described by certain skin tones in the book.
Some are, some are.
Okay.
And I think that's what I'm getting at. And Addison doesn't care about black people.
Shit. He can't read. He's acting.
Yeah.
Like
Well, he's not reading this. He's just looking at pictures. So it's really well written. It's really interesting. If you like fantasy at all, I'd recommend it.
How'd that come on your radar?
I was just like, I wanted to read a fantasy book. I just read this fantasy book that I don't remember the name to, but it was like this book from the 70s, and I just found it in Lost and Found at my work, and I read it, and it was all right, but it made me want to read more fantasy.
Sounds like the never-ending story.
Just because it's not video games.
Just because it's not about you and what you want.
Do you ever read nonfiction?
I do. I went through a series of nonfiction just recently, and I just stopped.
What was that?
I read the what's the Golden State Killer book?
Oh, the Patton Oswalt's wife?
Yeah. Well, she's a name, but I don't remember that.
Michelle McNamara.
Michelle McNamara. Thank you.
I was trying to think of her name with the last name Oswalt, and I couldn't come up with a thing.
So I read that one. I think it's something in the dark. But read that. That was good. It's like a memoir, and then I read this memoir called Sick by this woman who has. Oh boy, I should not tell people what I read because I don't remember what I read.
You don't want to be able to go out and find these books.
Yeah, it's called Sick. Just look up Sick. Look up memoir.
It's wrong.
Yeah, so I don't read nonfiction as much, but I did recently. I owed it to myself.
I think I might read that new Andrew McCabe, the former deputy director of the FBI. He just is coming out with a book next week on how he thought he might have to depose the president of the United States.
Oh, our president?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name again?
Andrew McCabe.
I know our president.
Don't say his name. Mm-mm.
Not on this podcast.
What?
So if you have any questions, concerns, complaints, please email us at tobehonestcast@gmail.com.
Give it to me one more time.
tobehonestcast@gmail.com.
You got it. Nice.
Any parting words from you gentlemen?
If you can figure out what books Josh has read, please email us so we have that list.
Yeah.
Other than that, thanks for listening.
Go and get yourselves a copy of Kate and Leopold.
It's streaming. If you have a Starz subscription through Amazon Prime, you can watch it in real time. And try not to kill yourself.
Fuck you.
Go fuck yourself. Thank you.